can't get this to sit in a place where I'm happy, where it's not digging into my neck. There you go, that's better. Oh. You look so cheerful.
Oh. I'll stop. You've got me a right weird angle.
No, I haven't. I've barely moved your chair.
Better.
Don't start moving the set now. I move Baradone more into the middle. Just trying to tidy this up a little bit. I think
When's Abaddon turning up?
I haven't ordered him.
Oh.
Joe, he's a lot of money. I decided that I thought you might, instead of Abaddon, I thought you might like a Christmas bonus.
Both? both seems like the best option, realistically.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday lunchtime-ish stream. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit all those magical YouTube buttons for us. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and you can hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Alternatively, you could become a member of the channel and come and join us in the Great Hall, or you can be gifted member by all those magical gifters out there. They've been on fire this week mostly. Yeah. We have, yeah. We had 200 on Tuesday, despite the fact it was just me sat there silently painting. Nice. Painting all day, Joe, on Tuesday.
I like it.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a little fly thing flying around here. It's annoying me. Is it because of the smell of your crotch?
Yes.
So there's ways you can come and join us. If you do get gifted a membership, or if you become a member and you haven't already, !Discord. Get yourself into the Great Hall Discord server. Come and hang out with us in there. Alternatively, you can also upgrade for other benefits, like the Jarl's Only giveaway, or you can come and join us in the OnlyThanes WhatsApp community, which is growing. It's a busy place now.
Good.
We've got many threads in there, like gaming, like we recently had the Spearhead weekend, like STL files and stuff. Yeah. Lots of things in the Thanes, all right? Cool. No headphones just died. Should have charged them, Sam. Your own fault, right? Stop being a child. Anywho, today's topic, right? We did a little talking last night. If you were around last night at the Warhammer show, you can watch this back, and the first like 20, 30 minutes was pretty sensible, actually. We did a little bit of talk about what the problem with 40k is. And I've come to the conclusion, and no one really has managed to yet convince me otherwise, the biggest problem with Warhammer 40k in general is the players rather than actually the game. So yes, okay, players can only exploit something if the exploit is available to them. That is true in any game. And we talked last night about the fact that that happens in Call of Duty, it happens in fucking Monopoly. If people can exploit a system, they will exploit the system because people are arseholes. But that circles back round to the fact that it's because people are arseholes. Now, do I think that Games Workshop have the capacity to build a perfect game that can't be exploited? No. Have they got close with, for example, AOS? Yeah. Do I now personally think that's a bit boring because of it? Yeah. So sometimes I feel like, as a streamer specifically, I'm quite guilty of saying, I want all of the things. I want it to be fun and exciting and not boring, but I also want it to be perfectly balanced. And, and I don't think it's possible to have all of the things that I want all of the time necessarily. So I think I kind of settled on yesterday that the player base is part of the problem because people go looking for ways to break the game, being that cheesy, gamey dickhead. Yeah. That being said, I'd like to think that the majority of the team here aren't those people, but you've been having a torrid time over the last 2 months. And we've not really focused any real time on this. And so the stream title today is How Do We Make a Sad Joe Happy? Yeah. But I thought we'd focus on it a little bit because you have had probably now, it's probably fair to say 2.5 months-ish.
Well, when was Hellstorm?
End of August?
August bank holiday weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of August. So September, October, half of November. So 2.5 months basically of just not having a good time.
The thing is though, like obviously the way the game has gone over time, like the first kind of realization was that like all the armies that we had were like 8th and 9th edition style armies. So going into 10th. So now 10th edition requires a very specific army build to play the game.
It does.
Like,
it's more specific.
Have you got cheap move blocking units? Have you got cheap deep striking units, preferably cheap deep striking units that also have the ability to redeploy? Do you have something that deep strike denies? Do you have something that's got good range shooting that can delete a unit in one go? Have you got a good combat unit that can move really fast and delete a unit really quickly? Yeah. And that seems to be like, if your army's got all of that, banging. No? Like look at Sisters. Guard doesn't have the combat, but they've got the redeploy kind of units and stuff. Eldar's got it. Drukhari, Genestealer.
Eldar's in a weird place. Having been digging into the codex a lot lately myself, Eldar's in a weird place simply because their units that are effective have gone up in points significantly.
Yeah.
Their detachment mechanic, etc., has been nerfed into oblivion.
Yeah.
Not nerfed into oblivion. That's not fair. It's been toned right down. So, and then they also got hit by things like the indirect hit, and they got hit by the wounds hit. None of these were unjustified, to be clear. I'm not complaining about any of these. So Eldar is more like Eldar's become a very technical army to play now, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to trade well, etc. And if you get it wrong, they're so glass cannon that they'll just die for the majority of their units. There's a couple of units that don't sit in that bracket: Avatar, Wraithblades, etc. Oh my God, a big red one.
Oh,
do you want to say,
Joe?
There's a lot to say.
Thank you, Roland Bain.
Yeah.
I hope.
Oh, he's getting a hope for 100 bucks.
He's getting a hope for 100 quid.
Fair.
I hope that next time you get McDonald's,
Okay.
not only is the milkshake machine on, but everything's made fresh, like on the spot, not like being sat for a while. And you don't have too much salt, but not no salt either.
Yeah, not Joe levels of playing Warhammer 40k salt.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think my issue,
thanks, Roland. I love you.
Like, I've been pushing really hard on the chaos recently, and I kind of went off chaos for the same reason I'm having trouble with them now.
Okay.
Because chaos, I like to have nice, fast combat armies that can have a few tricks and do stuff.
Yeah.
Chaos have some okay close combat units in Abaddon and Chosen, but those units die really quickly and they're really slow. So you have to, and they're really high points. So you then have to invest more points in a Land Raider to move Abaddon around because he can't go into a.
Do you think Abaddon's a trap in chaos? So here's the thing, right? I don't.
I love Abaddon and I always use him, but he is awful.
Well, this is part where I was going to go with it. So I think that the part of your problem is, and I say your problem. This isn't like it's your problem, but it's a problem that exists, I think, in 10th edition in general now.
Yeah.
A unit that you love and you always want to take is Abaddon.
Yeah.
But currently, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, if he goes into anything with invulnerable save, he can't kill it. Realistically,
he's got to get lucky on the devil.
He's got to get really, really lucky, and he can't take a hit. So like Judicas, any character that you just put a stratagem on, any character that's okay in combat, you put the precision strat on, these are dead. Yeah. And I think what you get from him isn't realistically worth it. Because you saw like versus Pandy in his Tau, he was like, oh, have a unit of breaches, oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
And I think...
But then breaches do that to most things.
Yeah, but they're like 160 points for like one of the most lethal units in the game, which I think is a bit mental. Obviously, they have to have strats and supports and things. So Chaos I'm really struggling with because you have to build a balanced army to put it on the table, but that army struggles competitively because you have to put range in. But now there's so much terrain on the table, the range.
Would you argue that now most armies have to put a balanced army on the table to be able to compete in 10th edition? Majoritively. So would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing, though?
I think it's a good thing, but the problem is Games Workshop's pointing style is all over. So, for example, Abaddon's a trap because he just doesn't really do much. So if you look at the HQ options for Chaos Space Marines, Demon Princes, too many points, don't put much damage out, or like lower points characters that don't really do anything.
Do you not think Abaddon's strength, however, comes unfortunately not from melee? Yeah. Do you not think his melee is a deterrent, whereby actually nowadays, I hate it, but he probably wants to be stood around big shooting units?
Yeah, but you can't get lines of sight all the time because all the deployments now in the game are designed where you have a few buildings to hide behind, bit of open ground, all buildings in the middle. So you can't shoot past the middle. So your opponent just stages in the middle to kind of charge. And that's why we've kind of moved into this weird all combat armies do really well. So World Eaters, Blood Angels to an extent, Eldar, Drukhari do really well.
I think World Eaters are in a really good place, I think.
But they've got really fast moving units with a high toughness and an invulnerable save.
The only thing that sucks for World Eaters right now is if your opponent does have lots of infiltrating, move blocking, cheap throwaway stuff.
Yeah.
So they can stop the turn one advance and charge. If your opponent can stage and do that, it's potential you can slow them down for the first 2 turns and speed bump them, you've got a chance. Otherwise, if you can't do that, welders are going, as we've seen on stream, welders are going to win your face turn 1.
Yeah.
Eat this. What are you going to do about it?
Advance the charge, done. You're trapped in your corner, you can't get out. Like, welding is their biggest problem is deep striking units. But deep striking units are deep strike within 3. Because they can just come and steal the objectives off the back line holders.
Yeah.
And I think like they're really, really good, but armies are limited by so a lot of armies are limited by who can actually take it.
Okay. So I'm thinking at the moment, because you've been working really hard actually to try and get the chaos into a place where you're enjoying them, and I think I've just watched essentially a practice game go on as well.
Yeah.
I think they're much better than they were a month ago.
Yeah, like they're better now, but the unit. So like obviously I looked at the army that won the LGT did really well, but that is played by someone who's literally plays that army all the time, loads and loads of reps.
Yep, he's a very good player.
Just incredibly good player.
Yep.
I haven't got all of those units that he's got because I want to run them in the detachment that I like to run the army in.
So explain the difference. What's the difference?
So he runs the
because he doesn't run pack bound zealots, and that's your favourite.
No, he ran the Black Legion detachment, which is the unit you get Oath of Moment. So he just has units of obliterators shooting in directly, just trying to kill that unit kind of thing. But he can only do it because he can't run pack bound zealots because he's taken Slanesh because he wants Lucius.
And if you run pack bound zealots, everything has to be Slanesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't take Abaddon in. You can't take Fabius Baal. You can't take.
Can't take Fabius Baal in Slanesh.
No, because he's Mark Undivided. He doesn't like the Emperor's Children. He left them.
But he is Emperor's Children.
He is, but he isn't because he kind of like abandoned them.
Okay.
So I've just kind of really struggled with Chaos because they just play in a quite ponderous kind of style, but the units don't really represent that on the table. And I think that's why they're really struggling. Okay. There's no defensive abilities in that army either, which I find really weird. Like there's no feel no pains. There's no fight first. There's some of the detachments, but all the detachments have army contempt.
I think a lack of fights first in the game in general for any faction right now really hurts people.
Yeah, that's why you take Lucius, because Lucius can get fights first.
Yeah, okay.
So then you can't run pack bound zealots. It's weird. So 4 Havocs of heavy bolters were stained and lethal at AP2. So Sam, I am using the pack bound zealots taking Tzeentch heavy bolter teams. Well, that worked out really, really well because they put out a lot of firepower. Because they get built-in sustained on the heavy bolters, you take them as Tzeentch to get lethal. So then they get lethal and sustained on 5s without the use of a dreadnought.
Yeah, I watched Joe play with some grey Havocs today.
Yeah.
Watched Joe play grey.
So I'm tempted to get another unit of those in the army. I think maybe that will really, really help. I really like the Predators. The Predators are really good. That's why everyone runs Predators. But there's a lot of terrain on the table really hurts them. Really hurts them a lot. Whereas Obliterators can kind of play around it because they can deep strike.
And they have that once per game.
Yeah. So I'm trying really, really, really hard to get to terms with them and work with them. But like the problem is that's why I went to Flesh Terrors because I was like, they just play how I want Chaos to play.
So Sammy G says Chaos Space Marine's current win rate is 52%, which actually I would argue is pretty close to perfect.
Yeah.
But the thing is with win rates is, I've said this forever, right, chat? MetaWatch, produced by Games Workshop, is horseshit. And I'll explain why. Because a win rate of 52% is a win rate of 50. It's probably a win rate of 52% where all the winning armies are taking the same thing.
Yeah, but also you got to think right. It's based on all the tournaments. So, but the tournament win rates tend to be dictated by all the top 100 players.
Yep.
So if the top 100 players are playing a specific army, that army's win rate will go up. So what happened? Like everyone was running Eldar at the start of the edition. Their win rate went to like 72%.
They were busted.
They were broken, and then they changed the rules, and everyone else just pivoted into. I can't remember. Let's say Blood Angels. Blood Angels' win rate went up, and then the Eldar came
But
down.
this is the
and
problem,
then-
isn't it?
And then they changed Blood Angels, and then it goes to Custodians.
You're 100% right. The problem is that when they look at these meta, the meta watch things, they don't take into consideration who is playing what.
Yeah.
So when Eldar are busted and everyone's playing Eldar, they look incredible. And then when all the top players pivot away from Eldar, and it's just left of the people that love the army because they love the army, the win rate goes in the toilet. But actually, what's happened is and this is where we've said this before. I think for win rates and stuff like that, for actual ITC competing. My personal preference is start the season, pick 2 factions or 3 factions. That's what you've got to play if you want points.
And
if you want ITC points, you've got to play those factions.
Yeah, and also you've got to think about the idea that it's also the win rate is also skewed by numbers. The more people playing an army, the more likely that army is going to have a more reflective version of their win rate. Whereas if there's less people, so if you've got 2 people playing Chaos Space Marines, one guy wins all the time, one guy loses all the time. That's going to be 50%. But if they both win all the time, because they're really, really good players, they end up with like 100% win rate. But it's not really reflective of the fact of whether that army's good or not. They might be just playing in their local RTT.
My intent in the future is to continue to take Eldar and just to keep walking off objectives and scoring 5 points. Thus driving the win rate down so low. When the rules come out, it's better.
Yeah, and I was really enjoying Blood Angels, but like Blood Angels now have been changed, not massively, but enough so that like they've got cool damage output but no survivability. So they'll go in and kill stuff and then just die. And their unit makeups aren't as great. And I'm kind of like, they're just not. I feel like they've lost obviously for me, Blood Angels died when Seth was taken out.
I was waiting for it.
Angel actually was like, the one reason you like that army, it's not in there anymore.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was about to ask you because you were fucking so pro Blood Angels, and then you've kind of gone right off the boil. And it's weird to have it this way round, whereby a faction receives a new book. So what I'm getting at is I think that over the course of the last 2.5 months, I think there's been a layering of things that have happened, which is why you're a bit miserable for 40k. Because when the new book come out, most people, when their faction gets a new book, they get reinvigorated excitement. Paddy, for example.
Yeah.
A new codex has come out. He's reinvigorated his excitement for Blood Angels, and he's painting Blood Angels. You went the other way.
Yeah, because I was like, so everyone was playing Blood Angels a very specific way because they were using all the Blood Angels characters, where I was like, Seth, Assault Intercessors, Land Raider Redeemers, Blade Guard. Blade Guard, like my favourite Space Marine unit ever.
Okay.
Right? And now the new codex is like, you have to play only the Space Marine characters, and you have to lean into Sanguinary Guard, realistically, because Death Company are dead now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, So I really like Guard, but I really like playing Guard, but then I don't like playing Guard competitively because there's a lot of hard work playing them competitively.
Why? Because they don't really do much but stand there and shoot at you.
Yeah, but also if you don't screen correctly, obviously people just run in and kill everything. So you have to play with. I find shooting armies really boring.
So do you think that I talked to you briefly about this before we went on air, but I actually stopped because I wanted to talk about it on air. Do you think that I have a theory? Not do you think? I have a theory that part of the problem for you, in a competitive environment at least, at the moment in 40k, is the factions you're playing.
Yeah, so this is where so what am I wrong about, Gary P? But I just if I want to
He's
play,
argumentative today.
I am argumentative today. If I play Blood Angels now, to play them the way that I want to play them, I don't have any of the cool new Blood Angel stuff in my army.
Yeah.
Because when I was running Flesh Terrors, I only had like one unit of Sangard. I had no Death Company. I just had generic Space Marine units. So I'm kind of at this weird position where Tyranids are kind of... I really enjoy playing with Tyranids, but I don't play with them to win. I just play with them because I really like playing Tyranids. But they're not in a great place either. So part of me is now in a situation where it's like, I'll have those armies, I'll get the units I've got for them done, and then I'm tempted just to start an entirely new faction.
So do you think that?
Just
do you think
concentrate on
Tyranids aren't in a good place, or do you think the Tyranid stuff that we have isn't in a good place?
I think...
I'll be honest with you as well, everyone. I have no idea where the meta percentages are for any army right now because I stopped looking at MetaWatch. I've got bored of looking at MetaWatch. I've got bored of trying to keep up with it. I'm just trying to get a feel for it myself now and figure out the units that I like to play with and that work for me. Because I think it's very easy. I think it's been very easy for years to tumble down the MetaWatch hole, to look at what the competitive lists are, to look at what the competitive people are taking, to try and kind of copy those lists and put them on the tabletop and go, it's not working for me. Well, that's because it's not units that I like to play with or that I'm used to playing with. So I'm trying to ignore that. So I don't know what the win percentages are. I'm just curious as to whether we think that Tyranids are in a bad place or whether it's whether it's the units that we have.
I think the units that we've got are fine, really, because I didn't want to get Exocrines solely because they're like 50 quid a model for like 140 points, and they're an okay shooting unit, but I think they really struggle now in the ITs in the competitive team because there's so much terrain on the table.
Okay,
you're better off having things like the Morlocks and stuff that we've got, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I really like Gene Stealers. Lictors do really, really well. So like part of me is thinking, do I just go and play Tyranids?
So my theory is, and I want to kind of enable this, but I also really want you to paint up a Channel Eldar army.
Yeah.
My theory is, I was thinking about this the other day, sat at home. We need Joe to start his own Drukhari army.
Well, yeah, you said, yeah. I fucking love Drukhari, but I really don't like our Channel army.
Exactly.
I hate playing it because, right, for selfish reasons, right? I was on another channel before, but before I was on that channel, I had a Drukhari army, my lovely blue army, and I built up loads. I had like 4,000 or 5,000 points of Drukhari, and I loved it. It was a beautiful scheme, and I sold that army to my friend Dan, who would probably let me borrow the army, kind of thing. And the channel army we've got now is kind of painted in the same style, but for lack of a better word, worse. I don't like the basing on it, and I'm like, meh.
I'm never gonna criticize anyone's painting. To be
I
fair,
just find it
seriously.
I find it really jarring. You know when someone shows you their newborn baby and it's fuck ugly.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, goblin, you know?
Yeah,
and you're like, like, well done, you've had a baby. I can't compliment it because it's horrible. But I think like I'm kind of like the same thing with Drukhari. I've had my baby. My baby was beautiful, and you're now giving me an ugly baby. I don't want this ugly baby. I want a beautiful baby. So,
but how much is it going to cost me to fund the Joe Drukhari army? Really,
like 400 or 500 quid. Yeah,
well, I wasn't ready for that.
because mainly because I prefer witches and incubi. The start collecting box doesn't have witches in it. It has
witches and incubi.
But the good thing about the current combat patrol for Drukhari is that it comes with a raider, a ravager, incubi, archon.
Yeah.
So you just have to buy the other stuff on top. So they're an army that actually starts really, really quite simple and easy. I think I could probably get back into Drukhari because that was like my main kind of competitive love. When I ran Drukhari at tournaments, I did relatively well. In fact, quite well.
I would like to see you play Drukhari again. Yeah. But I'd like to see a Joe Drukhari army going. That's what I'd like to see.
Because I really like how witches run and stuff in that army. I'm currently kind of tentatively in the background doing Ultramarine.
See, I don't. Well, to go back to Drukhari, my new Eldar paint scheme that I'm doing is painted in such a way. I loved the Inari narrative when it came out. A big fan of that stuff. And I'm painting mine in a similar, in a sort of almost like a Inari flavour, because if you run Inari, you're able to include. You can take out the Avatar. You take out Phoenix Laws, you take out something else, Homunculus Covens, but you can basically take everything else. So I can then include 1,000 points worth of witches and of incubi, etc. I fucking love incubi, by the way. And Draz, what a model. Anyway, so that's like I love those parts of it as well, and I really, really, really enjoy in terms of playing 40k in the elf camp, the Drukhari, the Harlequins, the Eldar, the Craftworlds. I love the technical play. I'm a big fan of it. And I think sometimes when you take power armored armies that haven't got something super unique and niche about them, for example, World Eaters, where they have something unique and niche about them, they're everything charged, smash face really, really fast, lots of demons, right, etc. I think if you went and did your passion project of Ultramarines and you started playing it, you'd probably still get just as bored. Honestly, I think part of the problem is I fucking love Space Marines at the moment. Yeah. Space Marine 2 reinvigorated my adoration for power armor. Yeah. Absolutely it did. Genuinely. Especially from a narrative perspective. 100%. I think from a tabletop gaming perspective with lots of reps, I'd get bored of it. Unless it was probably
but
my
I
World
really like converting Space Marines.
No, I know you do.
I like painting Space Marines.
You can spend fucking 2 months converting Space Marines. It doesn't make the tabletop experience more interesting.
I think Index Blood Angels spoiled everything in power armor for me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right? Because they were too good. Because every time I picked up and played anything that's not Index Blood Angels, I was like, I'm playing...
With a handicap.
A handicap, yeah. So I could just be playing better Space Marines.
Hey, like, man.
So like people that don't have Blood Angels won't understand in it, right? Because it's almost like going to it's almost like an incredibly rich person complaining about having to drive a Ford Escort. You know, I could be driving a Mustang now.
Well, because of the way you like to play, because your style of play, which is hit fast, hit and run, when you're playing with non-Blood Angels, it feels like you're playing with an arm tied behind your back. Yeah. Because you have less speed, typically, across the army, and when you do hit, you lack a punch, because you don't get the +2 strength, you don't get the +1 attack, right? Which is fair. But it's still a power armor army. And as I said to you before we went live, the problem we have is, I think a lot of armies out there now are absolutely full to the rafters of things like -2 damage and 3 damage weapons. Which means when you hit them with your Space Marines, they go, cool, you're dead. Yeah. Because they're literally designed to kill Space Marines. Do you know what 2 damage is not so good against? Drukhari. Yeah. Because you're like, cool, 2 damage has hit my 1 wound witch. I've got lots more of them. Who cares? You know? And I'm not saying, Joe, do what I tell you and play Drukhari. And I'm not saying Drukhari is the answer.
I'd love to play Drukhari. Drukhari is always like my favourite army to play with.
If we hit 100 members on this particular stream, I'll start getting Joe some Drukhari units.
Yeah?
100%.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah. 100%. If we hit 100 members on this stream alone, I'll start getting Joe some Drukhari units.
Yeah. I mean, John's already started off as Chapter Master Hawk 2. Yeah. With 20 gifted memberships.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. I hope that you don't get stuck in a civil war.
No politics chat, Jay. That's a 5 gifted fine. We established this last night.
Oh, was it? I don't watch the channel.
No, well, I'm letting you know now. You have that one for free.
Yeah. It's not political, I'm just saying.
It kind of is right now.
I'm just saying you could go to Canada.
Okay.
You could go to Istanbul. You
could dig yourself out that hole.
You go to France, you know? Yeah. It's like Vive la Revolution.
Dig yourself out that hole right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do Drukhari. I love Drukhari. They're one of my favourite armies to play with. Because I can't think of anything else that I'd rather do. Really? Apart from Ultramarine.
Anything elf in Warhammer, I love it. Yeah. Fucking 40k elves, I love them. AOS elves, I love them. Yeah. Anything elf in Warhammer, I love it. And I think that, on the most part, they do have a problem, often, where GW overcompensate their durability with insane amounts of damage output and insane amounts of things like hit and run abilities. And they do always overcompensate. Yeah. And often when a book comes out, Drukhari or Craftworlds, often it's like, well, that's broke as shit. And it kind of ruins my enjoyment a little bit. But once that settles and they've made some changes, I always circle back round to them. Yeah. And it's because, for me, the Craftworlds specifically, for me, can Craftworlds do good shooting? Yes. Can they do good melee? Yes. Can they do fast and mobile? Yes. Can they trade? Yes. Do they have durable units? Yes. I've got access to everything. Yeah. Can I put all of that in one list? Well, at the start of 10th edition, the answer was yes. Yeah. But now, no. You have to pick and choose the units that you want to do and want to put in there. So they tick every box. If you look at other factions, if you look at perhaps your Chaos Space Marines, can they do good shooting? Yeah. Do they have good melee? Kinda. Yeah. would you have to pick one or the other? Kind of mostly. Do they do super fast and mobile? Not really. The court sort of.
Yeah.
It's not a yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And I think, like with like Chaos Space Marines, I'm always tempted just to go back to my stupid lists, like Abaddon, 2 Lords, 30 Terminators, and just be like,
but you were having if we think about the stream title, you were having more fun then.
yeah, I've got to the point now where the more I've concentrated on actually trying to play, the more I've tried to play the game, the less I've enjoyed it.
Yes,
because
100%.
Because it's like it's right. No offense to competitive people, it's chasing a pointless dream.
Okay, explain.
Because
I'm interested in this.
There's 20 people in the world that win the ITC every year. It kind of just rotates round. So we're not going. No one realistically is going to win the ITC, like apart from those 20 people, unless you're a single adult with no children, no commitments, well-paid job, so you can travel the world every year, go to all the major tournaments to get the points.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously most of the competitive ITC points are made up at LVO. Whoever wins LVO, most 9 times out of 10 wins the ITC. So realistically, your best option as a not a top tenner is to go for best in faction.
But I mean, I think I'm just fucking read this.
Our kind of hopes is like if you go to a tournament, you're happy if you go 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 1. That's like an attainable goal kind of thing. But like you said, your complaint about Age of Sigmar, it's really boring.
Yep.
It's really predictable.
Yep.
Every game's the same.
I'd rather take something a bit skew and go and have a 3-2-2-3 tournament than take something really plain and boring and have a 4-1 tournament.
Yeah, so that's where I am at now with 40k. I'm trying to play the game like everyone else, and I hate it.
Yep.
It's really boring.
So this is the exact realisation I had.
Yeah, so whereas when I went to Hellstorm, I really enjoyed it because I just took a stupid list.
Yep.
So part of me is tempted where
you were drunk.
And I was drunk. So part of me now is like, do I even care anymore? Do I just take stupid lists and be stupid and whatever happens, happens?
Yeah. So this is my realisation that happened just before the Hellstorm event itself. I was in a similar place to you, I think.
Yeah.
And fair enough, mine didn't last as long as yours has lasted. I wasn't enjoying it. I was fed up of the way the game was playing. And I was focusing on all the negatives in the game. I was focusing on all the re-rolls that I hated. And I was focusing on the article that came out pre-10th edition that was a flat lie about less re-rolls and less lethal, all this shit, and simplified, not simple. And I was getting so worked up, and it compounded and compounded and compounded until it erupted. I was just fucking fed up. And there was one game specifically, I remember, Tyrannus, I think it was, versus Custodes, and I was ready to flip the fucking table. I was done. I'd done enough, right? And I was like, why am I getting so emotional about a fucking game? Why do I play the game? Do I play the game to win? No. Do I play the game to go and win tournaments? No. Have I ever really ever looked at my ITC ranking? No. So why am I getting so worked up? And I stopped trying to build lists that could definitely win a game and do all the objectives. I went to Hellstorm. I played 3 games and I got fucking battered.
Yeah.
And you know what? I had a smile on my face at the end of day 3. I basically didn't score a point. I mean, I did, but I didn't get above my 50 points every game.
Yeah.
And I finished every game with it. And I had fun with my opponent. And I was like, this is what 40k is about to me. We had silly moments, laughable moments, stupid things happened. Okay, the list flat didn't function, and I have come away from that going, I need to make something that functions a little bit better in this particular edition. Yeah. But I don't care about dialing it in so that everything has a purpose, because I don't care about doing that. I want to have fun. Take silly skew lists. What I'm currently building and painting at home is fucking 2 Wraith Knights in it. I don't think I've seen that in 10th yet.
Yeah.
With swords, by the way, not guns.
Swords.
Yeah. Joe, do you want £1 million? Would that make you happy?
Obviously. Everyone says, "Oh, money doesn't solve anything," but they're lying.
Money, that's a bullshit fact.
Money solves everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they say money doesn't buy happiness. Flat lies.
Yeah. It's like money can't make you attractive. It can.
Yeah.
Right. We have the science.
Right. So we've done half an hour of chatting nonsense. Which means at this point in the show, we're going to start diving into your comments about what we've been talking about. Not that there's been loads, but big thank you to Roland for making it at least financially loads.
Yeah.
We're also on 27 gifted memberships right now. Best way to support the channel. Best way to support the channel every single month. Gifted memberships. Exclamation mark gift if you want to take part. Gift 1, gift 5, gift 10, gift 20, gift 50. If you give 5 or above, you'll get a hope from Mr. the Joe. If we get to 100 on stream, I will start buying you some Drukhari units. I'll get you a brand new Draz and some Incubi. Your favourite?
30 Incubi.
Is Draz and Incubi your favourite, or is Lilith and Witches your favourite? Which is your favourite? Where do we
They're
start?
equally... Well, any list I run for Drukhari is going to have both in it.
So where do we start?
I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Any list would start with both in it, really. There's Draz and 10 Incubi, an Archon with 10 Incubi, another Archon with 10 Incubi, Lilith with 10 Witches, and then a bunch of 5-man units of Witches. And you either put them in Raiders and Venoms, respectively, and then you take units of 5 Scourges, and you take units of 5 Mandrakes.
I think we've just answered Rambo's super chat, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's start from the top, Mr. the J.
Thank you, Kazera says, more Sigmar for Joe to flex his vampire boys, girls, and beasts.
Are you still loving Sigmar?
I really like Sigmar. I really enjoy it. I think it is a better game because there is less swinginess in it. There's less soul-crushing moments in it as well. And you've always, like, even when you're losing, you still have a chance.
I think it depends on your definition of a better game.
Yeah, a better rule system.
So yeah. I think the rule system is more solid. I think the game is more balanced and stable.
Yeah,
and I think there is less rules interaction issues, which means it's better written.
Yeah.
I also think it's more boring. And you could argue that better is more fun and more exciting.
But it's also like everything about Age of Sigmar has all the things I want out of what I want from 40k. Fast-moving kind of combat units, some hard-hitting combat units, cool named characters that can actually kill stuff, but also take a hit. You know, you're not going around just like one pumping all your units aren't just being killed instantly, but your units aren't just one pumping other stuff. It's all about tactical movement and play, and model positioning, and like the strats are limited. You both have access to the same strats, but it's how you play them compared to your opponent, and how you manage your command points, kind of thing. Yeah, I think like there's a lot more kind of gamer skill expression within that than like my unit. If it runs 12 inches, charges you, your unit's dead. Yeah, no, I agree. And then, or like I've got a 500-point unit that's just been deleted by a 100-point unit because that 100-point unit's got reroll all hits, got reroll all wounds, got reroll all damage, kind of thing. Or I charge my 300-point character with a unit into your unit, and your 100-point character just kills mine, kind of thing. Whereas you just don't get that in Age of Sigmar. Some very specific examples you just thrown out there. I've just been fucked up by World Eaters too many times. And I just think... it's your fault, Tom. Yeah, so I'm kind of in a position now where like Age of Sigmar has that, and the game's a bit more chill as well. Yeah. I think you're right with everything you're saying. Yeah. I just also think it's a bit dull. But also, I hate the secondaries in 40k. I hate actions with a passion, and there's too many of them now. I like containment, and and then there's the one where recover assets. I like the 40k secondary system. Yeah, better for casual gaming. Yeah. So for casual gaming, the random draw is, I think, better and more exciting and creates more weird, strange moments. But I also hate actions. Yeah. So I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Personally. And actions only really work for armies, and they're only working currently for armies with lots of cheap expendable infantry. Or fast as well. Or fast. And so this is where infantry. I said this the other night, I 100% without doubt wish that GW would go, we've got our Pariah Nexus mission deck, or whatever the mission deck will be next year, and we've got our Crusade for narrative gamers. I really wish they'd go,
here's another Maelstrom deck.
Yeah.
Here's your casual play. And there's no actions in it because no one wants to, in casual play, no one wants to spend time building and painting their unit that they love and it's very pretty to deploy on the table and then go, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to do nothing. I've got these amazing guns, these amazing melee weapons, this amazing ability. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to do nothing. No one wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I miss them. So Maelstrom of War, where you had 36 secondary objectives each and not a single one was do an action.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I've got 300 points over 3 units that jump in, do some actions, or stand in a corner because if they go and fight someone, they'll die. It's like, oh, cool, I got 5 points. That 300 points is now dead because my entire opponent's army is strength 6 -2, damage 2.
Yeah,
and they all just kind of evaporate. So yeah, I just prefer the Age of Sigmar secondary option, and also. What I like about the Age of Sigmar secondaries that you don't get in 40k is that stuff that requires you to do actions in corners or in specific parts of the table can't be done by units that are deep striking that turn. So so like behind enemy lines currently is just done by 50 to 100 point units that deep strike in, boop, and your opponent can do nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah.
Whereas in Age of Sigmar, the behind enemy lines version, it can't be done by a unit that's set up that turn.
Yeah.
So you have to have fast moving units in your army that can go the distance. But because you choose when your secondaries happen, you can. But this is what I like about it, is because when you choose when the secondaries happen, so you can build tactics in your mind. So they're like, okay, so I'm not going to go for Caesar Center because he's got fast-moving stuff that can countercharge me turn 1. So I might go for ones where I go and take the edges, which means I draw him out. So then maybe turn 2, turn 3, I can go Caesar Center. And then those stuff that went out to the side, if they've won, they can then go into the back lines. So you're always kind of thinking about what's happening. Whereas what I find every single stream, I go, can I have my secondaries, please? And you've got, cool, here's 2 you can't do. Next turn, here's 2 you can't do.
But you can go fixed.
Yeah, but it's so boring. But also, like, the fixed ones are based on your opponent. Bring it down, cool, my opponent's going to hide all their tanks.
Behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Deploy teleport homer.
Yeah.
Bring it down.
Yeah.
Assassinate. These are all ones you can do.
Yeah, assassinate. Hide all the characters at the back so they can't be killed.
But that in itself...
Or behind enemy lines, your opponent's going to be good at screening.
If I fucking love the way your brain works sometimes. Yeah. If you go assassinate and your opponent goes, I'm hiding all my characters at the back of the board. Cool, they're not doing anything then.
Yeah, but...
Good, okay, don't use them then, fine.
Yeah, but all the characters in the game now are the ones that everyone's using, sub 100 points shite, that don't really do
So it's guaranteed fucking 20 second points then?
Cool, just chill at the back. You know, and then all this... or you can have 2 or 3, that's 9 points, you know?
I think if they just...
12, yeah.
If they're like... if they sub 100 points don't do anything, then they don't get taken.
Yeah, but I feel like fixed is a trap unless you're playing armies like Drukhari.
Yeah, there are definitely certain factions that are better at fixed, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't play armies that are good at fixed.
Yeah. I feel like I would like to see less secondaries that are actions. I do kind of miss the whole objectives are numbered. And you pull a secondary that tells you to go get an objective that's a specific number.
Yeah.
Like I miss that kind of shit. Because at least, even if it's more difficult than you would like. So let's say there's 5 objectives on the table and you're the furthest away from objective 5. It says go and get objective 5. Let's say it's still at least in the realms of possibility. It requires you to be interactive with your opponent.
Yeah.
Rather than, I stand here, they're doing an action. I can't...
Yeah.
I actually don't mind the random draw at all for casual play. For casual play, I think the random draw creates much fun moments and it makes games swing. And if you think about it, there is a possibility, there is a world where you take a strong army versus a medium to weak army, and that strong army pulls nothing but good secondaries, and the weak army pulls nothing but terrible secondaries, and then the points are vast. There's also a world where the strong army pulls terrible secondaries, and the weak army pulls great secondaries, and the points are closer, and it actually gives the underdog a chance of winning.
Yeah, but the problem, like I've said this before, there's too many points in 40k, because out of 100. So you could have a really, really what looks like a close game on the table, but one of you's got 30 points and one of you's got 80.
Would you introduce an underdog mechanic as well, like AOS has got?
Yeah, like either like an extra command point is sometimes really, because there's fuck all command points in the game as well. and some armies rely on command points. But if you don't have access to a character that gives you command points, you have to play a game where you only score 1 secondary a turn to make sure you get that extra command point going into the next one. And if you accidentally score both, you've fucked it up.
Accidentally, you have to score it.
I know, but like sometimes if it's like,
just discard it, you've done it.
I know, but it's just, but you're like, oh, I need the points or I don't.
Your mind is my favourite place. It's my favourite place, Joe.
But that's like, so when I went to Hellstorm, I played a game where I'm only going to score 1 secondary a turn, kind of thing. And just be like, I've scored five.
You do all the actions, you just discard it.
I've just got to the point now with 40k where I just want to be drunk when playing it.
I also think
it makes me playing 40k wants me to have a drinking problem.
I'm going to speak slightly out of turn here as well. I don't want to upset you, but I'm going to say this out loud anyway, because I was in this place. I was in this place, so this was something I was doing.
Yeah.
I also think there is a small percentage of self-sabotaging going on here. I feel like at the moment you're in a place where you walk up to a table expecting to have a bad time, and so you have a bad time.
Yeah.
I was there. I was doing it.
I get to the table. I'm like this is going to be shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm not criticizing a character flaw because I was doing it, right? So I'm not saying you're an idiot because you're doing this, because I was 100% the same. I was doing the same thing. I was walking up to the table going, this is going to be shit. I won't be able to kill anything. What's the fucking point? And I feel like there is a degree of self-sabotage here. You said a thing to me before we went on stream, and I think you've said it on stream as well so far. You're like, I think I've come to a point where I'm going to go, fuck it, I'm going to take fun stuff again. I'm like, yes, do that. Because then you're going to the table with a completely different mindset.
I got to the point where I was bringing fun stuff and my opponents were bringing a competitive list. I was just having my shit kicked in. And I was like, I'm also not enjoying this. because we have to do a bit of like give and take on the stream. So sometimes we're like, if my opponent just advances and charges turn 1, this is going to be a really shit game. And then guess what? My opponent advances and charges turn 1, and I have a really fucking shit game.
I couldn't help that. But
it's got to the
you
point
made such a big thing about it on the Liam and Joe show that day. I was like, I can't help it.
But then we put out a really shit show. Right?
I don't know. I loved it.
I know you had a great time, but it's like, what's happening? Oh, Joe's just stood in the corner because you can't get out, and he's losing. So
Yeah.
That
was my bad, 100%.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it was one of those ones like, I bought a shit detachment, I bought a shit army, right? I can't win anyway in this matchup. So you were like, cool, let's get this game done in 20 minutes.
So sometimes we're a little bit too broy on the channel here is when just before stream, Joe says to me, just don't pick advance and charge turn 1 and we'll be okay. Yeah. I rolled those dice and I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah, so I'm getting to the point where, like, because I was like, I can't bring the double redeemer list onto the table because it's like too obnoxious. But I'm getting to the point where it's going to happen.
You absolutely can bring it.
Do it tonight.
Yeah.
But I've also encouraged Joe a number of times over the last 2 months, like, gloves are off, take what you want. If Brom's going to try too hard, take what you want. And he's like, okay. And then he puts the list on. I'm like, really? That's your choice? And then he gets beat. And he's like, I took something fun. I was like, why? I said to you, beat him.
But it's just, but I also don't want to put on a shit show.
Of course.
You know,
absolutely.
I want to have fun, but I want the people to watching to have fun. Because there's nothing worse than watching a game where both people just stood there like that.
I know that hand. I know what you're doing there. I know what you're doing.
I don't know anyone that does that.
I know exactly what you're doing. Stop.
If I could pop my muscles,
it's banned now.
Right. What?
Stop. Carry on.
So, yeah.
First turn charges should not be a thing, in my opinion. Same with first turn alpha strikes, just not very fun. Yeah, I think for both though, for range shooting and for combat armies, being able to talk about terrain density. I think this is being put in place to try and stop this from happening, at least with ranged armies. Being able to go turn 1, half your army's dead, is always going to be a shit experience. Well, that was the problem we had at the start of 10th, where basically shooting armies were way too powerful. 100%, yeah.
And people were just being tabled turn 1, and it was not exciting. And I feel like they've gone too far the other way now, where shooting armies really, really fucking struggle. Combat armies are really strong, and they've nerfed indirect into the ground.
Yeah.
I think if we were in a position where indirect wasn't as powerful as it was, I think indirect should still be able to hit on 3s, not 4s,
Okay.
right? But like not hit on 2s. And I also think they need to fix characters and loan op. I think characters are a bit fundamentally broken in the game.
Okay, why?
Right. So a character, I've had this argument before. Seth, for example, his unit could be killed. Right.
Yeah.
So he stood on his own.
Yeah.
He could be surrounded by 400 intercessors.
Yep.
Right. Like crouching.
Yeah.
Led down on a floor under a rock. Right. At that time, and to this point now, he can still be shot at.
Yep, it's wrong.
A basilisk or a baneblade
I
can
think
shoot him.
I think
Right.
characters, I think I would go down the route of, and it probably needs a little bit more tweaking than this.
Yeah.
I think I'd go down the route of all characters are lone ops, and here's the units they can join.
So, right, prime example, a tech marine or a warpsmith has lone op if he's within 3 inches of a vehicle. But he can join units.
Yeah.
But if he joins a unit, he loses lone op.
But if the unit dies, does he gain lone op back?
Yeah. If
Yeah,
he's
see,
within 3
that's the
inches.
way, I think that should work for every character.
Primarchs, who are literally the size of dreadnoughts, when they're next to any unit in their army,
Infantry for the lion, if that's what it's all about.
any unit they're stood next to gives them lone op.
Yeah.
So why is a Primarch more protected than any other character in the
No,
game?
I think that's right. I think that
Yeah.
all characters should have that kind of
And it's
situation.
almost too powerful with Gilliman and the Lion because they could just strut across the table, not giving a fuck.
As I was going to do tonight against the Orcs
Whereas Abaddon,
with the lion.
who is a toughness 5 Terminator Lord now, right, could be stood on his own, or stood in a unit, or stood next to a unit, and he could be targeted with no problem. I just find it a bit. I think they need to fix characters because that's what's stopping characters from being actually good fun in the game now. That was always a great thing where you could have a characters lurking around and they're actually a threat, whereas now they're not a threat.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Stick Monkey, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Stick Monkey. I hope. I hope that you don't have a leak in your house that then causes electrical problems.
Strong. Okay. We always said, thank you, Rover, for the $100. Stick Monkey, thank you for the 5. Having seen his Instagram follows, reckon a whip round for curvy goth type lady would make a sad Joe happy.
Yeah.
It would make a happy Mrs. Joe sad.
Yeah.
But thanks, Sean, for the 5. You're a legend. Thank you so much, Jay, for the 5. Hi, guys. Love the channel. Liam, your thoughts on Inner Circle Companions? I run a 6-man unit with Azrael, and they've been amazing in my games. I really rate Inner Circle Companions.
like them. They're really good. Beautiful models.
I really rate them. So there's a couple of ways. There's 2 ways you can run Inner Circle Companions. I think you need to have them in units of 6. I don't think they work in units of 3. And you need to have them being joined by a character for 2 reasons. First of all, you don't get the -1 to hit against them if you don't have them led. They are only -1 to hit if they're being led by a character, and that increases their durability. Because they're practically Blade Guard, 3 wounds, I think it's 3 up armor, 3 wounds, but they don't have a 4 up invuln. Okay, so you need 2 things to make that less of a problem. Thing number 1 is Azrael, right, who gives them a 4 up invulnerable save because of the Lion's Helm, and that's super important. A 4 up invulnerable save for them makes them more durable, and that means you can put them out on foot, and that's fine. He also gives them sustained on their great swords, which if you take the 2 damage one is lethal already anyway, so they get lethal sustained, 4 up invuln, 3 up armor, 3 wounds each. They're pretty good. I also, however, rate them with Judiciars or Judicars. I rate them with them as well. You probably do want them in a transport of some sort if you run them with a Judicar, simply because they are then subjected to things like indirect. But if you stage them correctly through terrain, having fights first on a unit of Inner Circle Companions does circumvent that 4 up invulnerable save a little bit, because if they get charged, they fight first. If they charge, they fight first. So my Dark Angels list that I have at home that I've been building up, it's on pause right now because I'm painting Eldar. Surprise, Liam changed projects. Has 2 units of 6 Inner Circle Companions, one with Azrael, one with the Judica in it, because I think they're really, really good. And I actually would argue at the moment they're probably slightly better for me than Blade Guard in Dark Angels. They do miss the 4-up invuln, they do miss that reroll ones, but they have lethals and sustained. They have a sweep attack and a profile, a lethal profile. Sorry, a sweep attack and a standard attack. One's lethal, one's sustained. They also get that -1 to be hit if they're being led by a character. And they've got another rule, and I'm just pulling it up right now because I think Inner Circle companions are fucking great, and I love them. Also, by the way, super sexy models. Yeah, you can add 1 to hits if you target character units. That's the one I was thinking of as well. They're solid. They're really, really good. They have as many attacks as Blade Guard with 4 attacks per sword that are strength 6 -2/2 and lethals, right? But they also get a sweep attack, which goes to 5 attacks. Sustained hits 2 on that as well. Pretty tasty. Really, really great.
Strength as well, then.
Huh?
Higher strength.
They are higher strength as well, yeah. And
They cost the same.
They do cost the same. Top the up. I fucking love them. I think they're really, really good.
I mean, Azrael is just mental as well.
Azrael is an auto take in Dark Angels.
100%.
Azrael's an auto take. He's an auto take. He gives you sustained. He gives you on the unit you join. He gives the unit 4-up invulnerable save. You can put him in Hellblaster blobs. You can put him in Circle Companions. He gives you a CP if he's on the battlefield. Azrael is his sword is like 6 attack, strength 6 -2/2, and dev wounds. Azrael's mental good for his points. Very, very good. Evan, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. We did chat to Master Hoctor, didn't we?
Yeah.
Run McClock, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. Stick Monkey, thank you for the 5. At the risk of surprising the Thanes with my thoughts, fucking elf bullshit. But no, seriously, I'd love to see some angry pain elves.
Oh, yeah. I love Drukhari. They are a great army.
Well, I said 100 gifted for this stream, and we'll start getting you some Drukhari, but we're only on 37.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Rambo, thank you for the 2. What would Joe's Drukhari, 2,000 points of Drukhari list consist of? You want to throw a list together now?
I'll throw a list
We'll do
together.
I haven't built the thing yet where I can show it on the screen,
Oh.
but maybe later.
What are you taking 30 of?
All the things.
In the meantime, whilst Joe's writing that, we'll get back to that one, Rambo. Electman, thank you for the 5. It sounds like the best way to turn Sad Joe into Happy Joe is by playing more Age of Sigmar. Tell me I'm wrong. Go on, tell me.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Thanks for the 5, Electman. Hope you're doing well in US, dude.
Like, AOS is like the game that I would play more casually if I had more people to play it with, but...
AP4 on the sword, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
Which is also makes the sword mental. AP4 is good. Kazari, thank you for the 5. Idea, secretaries that give up 10 points per turn but can trade for a choice of 5-point non-action generics equals no army gets feels badded. That's interesting. I quite like that as a concept. I think it would need some more refining. I think if I'm honest with you, Joe's point about how many points are scored in a game of 40k is actually probably quite valid. It feels less like someone's running away with the game in AOS because the points are so much, because you only score 10 points a turn.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than the potential of being able to score 20 points a turn. I know it doesn't sound
more
so
than
silly.
20. Potentially you can get 25, 10 on primary.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
can.
up 10 to 15 on primary.
And 10 on secondary.
And 10 on secondaries, yeah.
Yeah, you can, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that if I score 5 points on my first turn and Joe scores 25 points on his first turn and there's a 20-point differential at the end of turn 1, you're already going, fucking hell. But if Joe scores 10 points on his first turn and I score 6, there's a 4-point difference. It doesn't feel so bad.
No.
You know, it does make a difference. I think that does make a difference as well. The difference in points, it means by missing a secondary or missing a primary of some sort, you're punished harder by missing it, which I think it's a fair point, that one as well. I'm interested in looking at that sort of idea though, Kaz, as well. Like we talked about, like I even like the idea of going, you know what, I don't know how many secondary cards are in the deck at the moment. 18, thank you. I like the idea of upping it to 30.
Yeah.
30. Here's 30 secondary cards, right, of all manner of different things. When you come to a tournament, you have to bring yourself a deck of 15. So take out all the ones you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So take out containment and take out blah and take out blah and put in all these extra ones and go, so you've now built a deck of 15 cards. You've got 5 turns. You're going to pull 2 a turn every turn and you can discard 1. If you discard 1 every single time, every single turn, you'll get through all 15 cards, right?
Yeah.
Deck of 15 built out of 30, off you go, that's your secondary deck. So at this point, we've sort of introduced an element of AOS where you've picked your secondary deck.
Yep.
We've also removed all the ones that you just flat don't want to do because they're actions. I think that's the way I would run it in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's nicer. I think
like
it's fun. Kev, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Mr. Kev Thacker.
Thank you, Kev. I hope next time you order a Chinese, it turns up in like 15 minutes.
Ooh, and hot fresh.
Yeah.
And thank you, Matt O'Reilly, for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope, Matt, next time you go swimming, it's not an OAP afternoon.
Lehman says, hi, Tom.
Hi, Lehman.
And then Brodicus Maximus, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Brodicus. I hope...
And old people swimming afternoon is the worst.
Yeah, I hope...
It's a strong hope, that one.
Next time... I hope next time you have to travel on any public transport, there's no crying children.
Oh, they're the worst, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public transport people.
The Linus Experiment, thank you for 5. He's got a fancy tick too, like us. Thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope that your YouTube doesn't get taken over by pirates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rip Voldemort.
Yeah.
That puts us on 47 now. 47, that's 3 away from halfway.
I like it.
With 24 minutes to go. Have you got your list? You done it?
Yeah, so I got 2 Archons, Shazar, Lilith,
Yeah, of course.
30 Witches, because they come in units of 10,
Yeah.
and they're battle line. But you can split them in 2s.
By using Venoms.
By Venoms, you split them into 5s. 2 Raiders, 3 Venoms, 20 Incubi, 1 10 and 2 5s, 10 Mandrakes, 2 5s, 2 Ravagers, 2 User Scourges. And that's 1970. I'd have to play around with it a bit more.
Yeah, but roughly that's the list, right?
That's roughly it, yeah.
And you can, I think I can already see how that works.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly, again, a very Joe thing, a lot of the meta units, some of the meta units you've not got in there. Court of the Archon's a meta unit right now.
Oh, I fucking hate that unit.
Why?
I've never liked it. Just personal choice. Just never liked it. So I don't like it for the same reason I don't like Cabalites. Cabalites now, I really used to really like Cabalites. I hate Cabalites now because of how 10th edition works. Because it's like you could take what's in the box. So you got 10 guys in a unit, and you've got like 7 different weapons.
Do you know what
7 different guys, and it bugs me.
Do you know what I found recently, which I think is an incredibly good unit, actually?
What's that?
In the Eldar book. You might want to look at
Corsairs.
Unari, actually.
Yeah.
Index Eldari, data sheets. Corsair Voice Guard, I think it is the battle line unit. Boop, boop, boop. Right, these things, where are they? Corsair, is it Voice Guard of the battle line unit? Infantry, no. Is it the Void Weavers that battle line unit? Yes. Yeah, so Corsair Void Weavers a battle line, right? Unit composition, 5 models, 60 points. 60 points, Joe. And you can put in them, if you've got a unit of 10, one of them can take a Wraith Cannon. But for every 5, you can take a Corsair Blaster.
Yeah.
So you can get a 10-man unit with 2 blasters and a Wraith Cannon in it for 120 points.
It's quite good, yeah.
It's fucking very good.
Yeah, but I really don't like having units with loads and loads and loads of different profiles. I like the streamline thing. And I've been like that since 5th edition. Because there was a time when you couldn't split fire. So, like, everyone's like, I'm going to take 10 tactical marines with a melter gun in it in case I get to shoot a tank, or a melter gun and las cannon. They can shoot a tank, but then all my guns are wasted. And I was like, no, you just take devastator squads with las cannons. All your tactical squads have anti-infantry stuff. Like, every unit has a specific job, right? And I've kind of followed that through all the way. Like, I hate the idea of like taking, well, they're shit now. There's no point taking a melter gun in like Legionnaires because it's like one shot that could be.
I disagree.
That's like, to me, that's time and effort wasted.
But I disagree with you. I was building my Berserkers a couple of weeks ago, and every single 5-man unit has 2 plasma pistols in. One for the champion and 1 random plasma pistol. Because they can make the difference. They can make the difference.
Like, I put the melter guns in, the fusion guns in the Sanguinary Guard. I've put those in. But most of the time, I'm like, no, time and effort wasted.
Oh, we're different. We're different people.
So I'm like, that unit does that. I can count on it, you know?
Oh, we're different people. I built 10. I've got 10. What are they? Assault fucking guardians called?
Wraith Guard?
No, the actual assault guardians. I can't remember what they're called now.
Oh,
They have the little plumes in their hair. That right?
yeah.
I put two metal guns in them.
I've got metal guns in there.
They're a little combat unit. They put two metal guns in. They make that like one shot with a melter gun or a plasma pistol can make a huge
but that's
difference
two.
to the game.
So you've doubled their efficiency, right? What I'm getting at is like one of my biggest bugbears about Chaos Terminators is you've got power weapons, power fists, chain fists, kind of thing, right? I'm like, 2 power fists, chain power weapons, fine, but then like the chain fist is like a power fist but shitter.
Yeah. So that okay. So that annoys me when you have, for example, 5 Terminators, Storm Guardians. Thank you, Drew. When you have, for example, 5 Terminators, it annoys me that you can't take 5 power fists. That does annoy me.
Yeah.
But and that one has to have a chain fist and one has to have a power weapon or a curse weapon or whatever. So I'll give you that one. That does annoy me because it forces you to have multiples.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you the option. It doesn't give you the option to have 5 power fists.
I think I specifically hate one-shot extra weapons.
But the Terminator example is different to the you can take a couple of melter guns. I'm not going to because it's wasting time.
No, I don't. A couple of metal guns. It's like a single plasma pistol. Which is why.
If I can take it, I'm taking it. It's free.
Nah, it's just. I think. I also
As we're learning slowly, chat, over the last couple of weeks, Joe's worst enemy is Joe.
Yeah.
It's
Stubbornness.
I'm really no. I like to have. This is why. This is wild autism speaking. This is like I have to have units of 2 or 3, and they all must be exactly the same and symmetry. You know, if I've got 3 units all with 2 plasma pistols, I think I could probably deal with it because that makes up 6 shots. So that if they all stand together, I get 6 plasma pistol shots.
It doesn't make sense.
So confused.
It doesn't make sense, Joe. So the core of the Archon is one where I'll agree with you.
It bugs me. It's like 1 snake, 1 poison lady, 1 brain guy, 1 goblin man.
So the core of the Archon, I would agree with you because there's like 5 different profiles and they're all a bit shit. They don't really do anything. They're not bad, but they're not amazing.
They are just extra wounds for an Archon.
But when it comes to other units, like the Corsair Void Reavers, I just said, a unit 10, take two blasters and 1 Wraith Cannon. I'm 100% taking 2 blasters and Wraith
2
Cannon.
blasters, sod off the Wraith Cannon.
The Wraith Cannon's the best gun in the unit!
I'd snap it in half, throw it in the bin. It's time and effort wasted. Less efficiency.
This is what I have to work with, Tom. This is what I have to work with, mate.
You need an army that only has one option to be able to take.
Well, that's why I really like Space Marines. Blade Guard, all this.
options.
No,
But you don't really like Space Marines because you get pissy that you keep losing with them.
well, it's because they're not how I want them.
So you don't like Space Marines?
I think this is why I really like. I've been looking at things like Ultramarines and stuff because it's like you work within a very constrict set of boundaries. They've got the best characters in the game.
When I played Ultramarines the other week against... Who did I play against? Was it you?
I don't know.
Who did I play Ultramarines against the other week? I can't remember. It might have been Paddy. I can't remember. I very much... So, Ultramarines in the Gladius detachment for Space Marines.
Yeah.
Granted, in melee, you lack some of that extra punch that you get from the Blood Angels detachment.
Yeah.
But playing Ultramarines in Gladius was a very enjoyable experience.
I think Ultramarines and Dark Angels are really good at this. They have the best, most efficient character usage in the game.
I think for me...
Calgar, definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, my most favourite Space Marine chapter for Loyalists is probably Dark Angels. But I think also for me, Ultramarines in Gladius is like playing quintessential Space Marines.
Yeah.
And it's very rewarding, and they play like they should play. And when I built that list, it wasn't quite exactly what I'd want, because Brom doesn't have all the units I wanted. And I played that list I played the other week, and I had some Eradicators, and I had some Aggressors, and I had Calgar, and I had some Intercessors, and I had some Hellblasters. And I played in Gladius. It was incredibly enjoyable. It was like they feel like Space Marines.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. And I think that if you want a Space Marine army that feels just like Space Marines, it's Ultramarines in Gladius.
Yeah,
100%.
because they've got the best tools. Like they've got like mine is Calgar, hits like an absolute fucking truck, right? He gives you a command point, which is great immediately.
Yep, 100%.
He can join good, efficient units like Blade Guard and aggressors, right? You've got Gilliman, who is an absolute unit, and he can just kind of chill behind stuff. Right, his auras aren't super efficient. His aura is actually a bit poo in the grand scheme of things, but he just trudges along and then walks into something and just annihilates it. He's like, "Huh!" Dead.
He's good. He's good without being obnoxiously good.
Yeah, and
I like him.
And Tiggy's really good. You've got
Ventress is incredible.
Uriel Ventress
Oh, Ventress
is
got so
so good.
Ventress is so good.
They've just got all the best characters
They do, yeah.
in terms of actually making your army work well.
Yes. Dark Angels compete slightly, but Ultra we just have more.
So
because Azrael, incredible. The Lion, very good.
Azrael and Calgar are comparable,
Yep.
and so are the Lion and Gilliman.
Agreed.
They're essentially interchangeable. Whereas Dark Angels have got the best Terminator unit in the game by a million miles.
Because they're prettier, right?
They're prettier. They're -1. They've got 4 wounds and -1 damage.
Yeah.
They just shit on all other Terminators, until they join the Death Watch, and then they get worse. But yeah, I think Dark Angels have some of the better units, but Ultramarines make the army work better.
Gladius, I'd be tempted to run even Dark Angels in Gladius.
Yeah.
Gladius is just such a good Space Marine attachment, to be fair.
I think it's still probably the best.
I think the problem
you could
is
ask for.
I also get
Agree.
hyper-fixated on stuff as well.
No!
What?
Yeah.
No!
So
Lies, Joe!
I for ages have I've always wanted to do a Tyrannic War Veterans Ultramarines army. Since they came out in metal.
Yep, I know.
Always wanted to do
You've
them.
mentioned it, you've actually
All the time.
genuinely, he's mentioned it quite
So
a few
I've
times.
got, with my current mental state in the game, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do what I enjoy. Like, Games Workshop's kind of killed my love of Blood Angels because they got rid of Seth. You know, Chaos Space Marines are a bit meh because Abaddon is tied to characters, essentially. Like, Abaddon is just a bit poo now.
Do you think your issue with Abaddon is because he's a bit poo, or is it because he was so good last edition? Because Abaddon was like here, and then he went like that, and he's come back down
you've
here.
Got to think, right, you've got to think about Abaddon's comparables in the game, right? Is where it kind of comes to. Like, if you want balance within the game, every army kind of has to have similar things. Right, and Games Workshop don't know what to do with Chaos Space Marines because they're kind of like Space Marines, and we always do their codex first, so they get all the best stuff. So Chaos Space Marines have to be like Space Marines but different. So they kind of go, we'll give them similar rules but slightly worse versions, right? And if you look like Abaddon and Calgar are kind of similar, but Abaddon puts out way more damage than Calgar. But Calgar's a million times more resilient and helps his army a bit more.
Yeah. Do you also think, to some extent as well, that Calgar, it sounds silly to say this considering Abaddon can join Terminators, but Calgar, because he can join things like Aggressors and Eradicators, Aggressors.
He can just join better units.
He joins better units, ultimately. Because Aggressors are like, we've all got Power Fists, which is what Joe wants, and they're all twin-linked.
Yeah. Whereas...
Oh, by the way, their guns aren't that great. Have an Apothecary Biologist.
Yeah.
Advance and shoot, advance and charge, fall back and shoot, fall back and charge.
And like...
You'll set him off, Tom.
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Oh, Abaddon could join Terminators, but guess what? They're really, really slow. But they can deep strike, but they have to deep strike 9 inches away, which is a really shit charge range. And there's no way of buffing that charge.
Yeah.
And he can only get in 1 transport in your army. Because you only have access to 2.
I prefer him in Chosen because of the advance and charge, but
if you roll a 1, like I keep doing...
Don't do that then. Don't roll a 1.
It's not... I just find that with Chaos Space Marines, like, Games Workshop don't know what they're doing with them. And because they're like they live in the warp, all their stuff's rusted, so they don't have access to great things. But give them something.
Well, they also a lot of the variety that I think gave Chaos some a lot of the things that gave Chaos some variety and gave them tools to unlock certain problems came from units that now apparently don't exist anymore, and they're all legends and they all went to Heresy.
Yeah. So like all the Forge World stuff. So like the Khitan, the Scorpion kind of thing. Like all the Heresy units that they had access to. Like there was nothing cooler than just bringing a Leviathan Dreadnought, having a Sikaran.
A drop pod
The
in
drop
Chaos.
pod.
Oh, Dreadclaw.
Oh, the Dreadclaw drop pod was great.
So cool.
And like they kind of try. They're like, you can't have Forge World stuff, but you can take 500 points of demons, which are a bit poo.
Yeah.
Or you can bring 500 points of a nut. They're trying to like force Chaos down this weird soup list. But the stuff that they can soup in, they can't take enough of it to make it exciting.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And that's the other problem as well, isn't it? When units get quite expensive, I've been finding this with things like Wraithguard, etc. When units get quite expensive, so the second you run 10 and you add a character, you're at a fifth to a quarter of your army gone straight away.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if I do this many more times, I've just got 4 units and my army's done.
Yeah. And they're toughness 6, 3 wounds, 4 up save.
For
Wraithguard.
no, a toughness 7,
Yeah.
3 wounds, 2 up armor,
Yeah.
4 up invulnerable if you take the blades.
Yeah. Have they got any resilience to dev wounds?
No.
So the unit of Stern Guard just goes boop, dead.
No, not really. No.
I think-
Joe. So this is what Joe does as well. So Sternguard, in Joe's mind, he always takes the combi bolters, which means they hit on 4s and they have anti-infantry 4+. So it's like, yeah, cool. 10 shots. That's all the Wraithguard dead. No, Joe, it's 30 wounds to get through. You've got to roll 4s followed by 4s.
Yeah, but how many
It's not how
points?
maths works.
How many points are 10 Wraithguard?
Like 340, 360.
So that's like 15 to 20. How many points? 300.
360, I think it is, roughly.
360.
For 10, yeah.
So that's 30 Stern Guard.
So 30 Sternguard hit on 4s,
Yeah.
right? That's 15 hits, Joe.
Yeah, but like things like Oath. And then you reroll 1s versus your Oath target.
Okay. So with Oath, right?
Yeah.
30 Sternguard hit on 4s is 15 hits with 15 rerolls, which is another, we'll round it up, 8 hits. So you've now got 22 hits. 4 plus to wound, right, is 11 wounds, 11 dev wounds against Wraithguard.
Yeah,
You've killed 3.
Yeah, but re-rolling 1. But you need to think. Right, you need to think this is also a dice game, so it could go in one way or the other.
No, it is a dice game. But when you're working out what's good and bad, this is part of your fucking problem. When you're working out what's good and bad, you can't be like, I'll just roll 4 pluses and then it'll be fine.
Yeah, but it will happen. I played Tom earlier. He rolled 8. He had to roll 8 invulnerable saves, and he failed 1.
Yeah, but that's
And then-
not mathematically.
And then a
not
6
what
up feel no
usually
pain. He rolled 2 6s.
Yeah, but that's not-
So, yeah, but you need to think, right? That it's not like I fucking hate Maths Hammer with a passion. I've always hated it. Right? Maths Hammer is the worst thing to happen in 40k.
Oh my god!
Because people
fucking love you.
people that rely on
Never
Maths Hammer
change.
are always going to do shit.
No.
I don't think they are, mate.
Right, you're talking to a person that always gambles at 11-inch charge
Pe-
every time.
People that rely on Maths Hammer, there's 2 ways you can rely on Maths Hammer, right? Way number 1 is you go, statistically, this unit mathematically kills that unit
Combi weapons are rapid fire, so it's 60 shots.
if you're in 12
you're in
inches.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people go, oh, Maths Hammer, mathematically this unit kills that unit to a man, literally to a man. So I'll then shoot, oh, it didn't work because I rolled just lower than mathematically average, I'm going to get pissy about it. That's not how Math Hammer works. Math Hammer people go, that unit's going to kill that unit to a man mathematically. I'm not confident in that. I'm going to divert other resources to helping it out before I start rolling the dice. Or this unit has an 80% chance of wiping that unit out, so I feel that's a solid engagement to try and play for. If it doesn't happen, that was just bad luck. Like there's 2 ways you can approach Math Hammer.
I just never rely on anything on Warhammer whatsoever.
I'm not surprised that you don't rely on anything math related. So that doesn't surprise me.
I'm like, this does this does this.
I am not shocked.
If it fucks up, it fucks up.
I'm not shocked, Joe, at all.
If it fucks up,
I
it's not meant to
maintain,
be.
I still think Sternguard bolters are better than their combi weapons in most situations. They gain heavy, they gain assault, they gain AP. They're just better in most situations.
45, according to
I think they're just bad.
Colonel Paddock, he says 45 hits, 26 dev wounds.
How do you get 45 hits from 20 shots?
Yeah, but if you're in 60, if you're in rapid fire.
Oh, 60 shots. Okay, yeah. All right, that makes much more sense. Yeah, 26-ish dev wounds. Yeah. But your argument also, where most of them can be 4+, can also work in the complete reverse. You can also do 46 shots and 3 dev wounds. It's possible.
It is, yeah.
In your head.
If it happens. If it fucks up, you're like, cool, they're dead. But
30 Stone Guards cool as shit, wee man.
yeah.
Because they're beautiful.
Yeah, 30 Stone Guard in drop pods. Science, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No. Although, never change, please.
I put that 30 Stone Guard in drop pods, turning up and just
It's very Space Marine. It's cool as shit.
It's cool. It's really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what you can't do, Chaos? Drop pods.
No, I know.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So you can only do that with Terminators, right?
Which aren't drop pods.
Which aren't drop pods, so they deep strike. You can give them the same guns, but you're looking at 360 points for 10, right? And then they fall over dead afterwards because
So I had this conversation. I was talking recently about my brother, right? In Warhammer. I think I talked about this last week actually. And we talked about people were like, oh, I want to see your brother's game streamed. It sounds amazing. He played his mate on Friday, who took 2,000 points, and it was like 1,200 points of Tyrannys and 800 points of Tau. That's all he's got. Against my brother, who took 2,000 points of Space Marines, right? Yeah. And he was messaging me throughout the evening because there's a couple of rules questions he had, and I was like, yeah, find it here, whatever. And then I was talking to him over the weekend. And I was like, how did it go? He's like, yeah, it was a fucking great game. Terminators are amazing. I was like, they're not. Like, he's taking bog standard Terminators, right? Yeah. He's not taking Deathwing Knights. He's like, no, they're amazing. Okay. They just waded into the middle of the table and just killed everything that came near them. I was like, were you using the right rules? They're Terminators.
Well, if they're shooting the oath target, they get +1 to hit.
And then he was like, fucking Dreadnoughts are well hard. I was like, Dreadnoughts are well overcosted. Well, like standard Redemptor this is, by the way. And he was like, we had a long conversation, and I was like, Ash, because he was like, so you're telling me that Terminators and Dreadnoughts, Redemptor Dreadnoughts are actually pretty bad? I was like, competitively speaking, yes. Comparatively, I was like, how many points is the Redemptor? Compare that to 6 Eradicators. Which one would you rather take? And he went, yeah, okay, I'll take your point. Yeah. I was like, but fuck that off. Keep enjoying the game that you're enjoying. Keep taking your Terminators. Fucking right, because he loves Terminators. He's like you, he fucking loves Terminators. Yeah. So I was like, keep taking your Terminators. Keep doing that.
I'm almost at a stage now where I feel like Terminators need to be, if they're staying at toughness 5, need to go to 4 wounds. Because if you look at Aggressor, it's 3 wounds and toughness 6. It has got 3 up save. But it just...
Would you, if you do that though, then you need to think about what you're going to do about Storm Shields. Would you go back to 3 up and Vulnerables? Or would Storm Shields give you a rerollable 1?
No, I'd just give you like higher toughness.
I feel like Storm Shields should give you what Blade Guard get.
Reroll
1s.
Yeah.
4 up reroll 1s rather than extra wound.
Yeah. And
then you just put Terminators up a wound, perhaps. I don't know. But tactical Dreadnought armour with the amount of -2/2 in the game is definitely not as durable.
Someone mentioned Custodes earlier, and I was like, I really like Custodes, but like they're one of those armies that never gets the benefit of its actual armour save.
Yeah, like Terminators.
Yeah.
Because everyone's rolling -1, -2 damage.
Yeah. So
100%.
It's just a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. In this less lethal edition. They've got a super chat through. We've got a final super chat through. Joe, they're not going to get you to 100 members for some Drukhari stuff.
That's fine. I'll just go and sit in the toilet and cry.
Grim Witchbird, thank you for the 10. Paying penance for buying the paperweight I need for the actual rules for starting an AdMech army.
Oh my God. Like, people are like, oh, Joe, when are you going to run the AdMech army again? I don't want to. Because it's a horrible, horrible mess of an army to play. Because you can't use the codex or the cards because they're wrong.
Oh, thankfully we bought iPads.
Yeah, but I'd have to learn because I like when I build an army, I like to have the rules easy to.
Yeah, no, I get that.
To have in front of me. So you want to say like, well, this unit works really well with this unit. This unit works really well with this unit. This unit's got really good guns, so I could buff it with that one, and kind of having the cards or the book to flick between on the app, nightmare.
So one of the reasons why I got the iPads was because of armies like AdMech.
Yeah.
Because so many updates to all of their rules that the cards and codex is now irrelevant. In fact, the codex isn't irrelevant because you need the code for the app.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers. But trying to learn a faction's rules using the app isn't the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah. People actually, it reminds me, people say that Games Workshop won't ever start selling codexes because it makes them too much money, right? Because that's why they won't start doing the code. But you just think, right, if you could buy the code, if the code wasn't in the codex, the codexes wouldn't sell.
So Games Workshop have told me they won't stop selling codexes because it makes them too much money, Joe.
Yeah.
40k Medic, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, 4K Medic. I hope that next time you're driving along with the lights on, you don't get stuck behind someone who's like playing music too loud and just doesn't like. There's always like someone who's like, "There's an ambulance behind me," and they just keep driving along because they're just completely unaware.
When you were like with the lights on, I was like he's just driving at night. I forgot that you're referencing him driving in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you were flashing at the person and why music would make a difference.
Because like, I remember like I was driving through Salisbury, and I had like a motorcade come by, like a bunch of like motorbike, like police motorbikes, blacked out like Audi 4x4, more motorbikes, and everyone was like pulling over, and there's this little old lady in like a Fiat Punto, just living her best life really. And all these police cars were like slowly surrounding this car, and then she panicked and then nearly ran one off the road.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get stuck with that.
Was that little old lady you?
No.
No.
But she turned off immediately into a side road, and I just followed the motorcade through Salisbury. So having my own personal escort.
Thank you so much, Tox Trio, for the €10. I think another problem is that characters aren't really characters anymore. They feel way more like war gear options that just so happen to have a body attached to it.
Well, that's the weird thing. That's why I really like taking Abaddon. This is the double-edged sword. Because Abaddon, when he does do stuff, kicks off really, really cool when he goes in and kills things, and he feels really, really nice. But there's nothing else in the Chaos book that does that.
Well, this is why I like the Lion and I like the Avatar, because you actually have heroes that act like heroes.
And it's like one thing I liked about Seth is that he was just a really cool character. He's probably a bit underpointed, but he was really, really good. In Blood Angels now, I've gone from him to Dante, who's okay. The Sanguinor's kind of okay.
Mephiston's a fucking baller.
But he's D3 damage. He's real swingy.
Oh my god.
If he was fixed 2, I'd be happy with him.
I think Mephiston's fucking quality.
He is really, really, really good. But when you go, oh, cool, I'm going to send him into these Terminator. Oh, roll the 1 on D3 damage, roll the 1 on D3 damage, roll the 1. Oh, I've killed 1 Terminator.
Yeah, but you also could go, I rolled a 5, I've killed 1 Terminator.
Well, yeah, he could be like 3 damage, 3 damage, 2 damage. Which is...
Points first before I feel no pain.
You argue with yourself here, basically. You're like, I rolled 1 damage. Yeah, but you roll a 5, 3 damage.
But the Blood Angels characters just are a bit...
They're so good.
So
I'm just
what we're
really
learning
disenfranchised with
Joe
it.
was to
You
deploy.
try running Khan and then go back to
Joe
the
wants to
Blood
deploy.
Angels characters.
Joe wants to deploy a 40k army and be like, I win. There's nothing you
Oh
can
no,
do.
no! What I want is for there to be a fun and engaging game, and I don't feel like I'm not having that at the moment.
No, I'm getting that impression.
Right, so I'll bring a fun, balanced army, but it's like, and cool, I'm doing slightly better, but I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah,
It's just you just running the numbers kind of.
That's
thing.
the thing that I want to solve. I want to solve that. I want to help you solve that problem. I spoke to Luce a couple of weeks ago when we played 40k on the channel. Was it last week when you played against Paddy? And I was like, I really want to help Joe find his love for 40k again. Because I was there. I wasn't there for as long as you've been there. I was there and I was not having a good time. I wasn't enjoying myself. And I was like, I could just keep laughing at Joe and it's funny. Or I could try and help him enjoy himself again.
My biggest concern is there's going to come a point where I'm like, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. I'll just go work in the spa or co-op, you know.
I don't think that's the better option.
I know, but like it's one of those ones where it's like someone says, if you're not enjoying the hobby, then do a different hobby, you know.
Yeah.
And like I really like Age of Sigmar, but 40k at the moment for me is just it's hard work to like find it. Like I really like the books. I really like building and painting the armies. I really like converting. That's why I thought like if I go down the Ultramarine, I'm going to spend loads of time just converting and painting.
But let's be honest, in your 40-hour working week, the majority of that is all those things you just said.
Yeah, but then it's like I then have to spend 8 hours, so basically an entire working day's worth of streaming, being miserable.
No, it's one stream a week, 40k.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours.
It feels like 8. It feels like because it's kind of one of those like I don't like I've never. It's been a long time since I've been in the position where like you wake up, you're like, don't want to go to work today, and I've kind of and it's like sometimes on like 40k stream days I'm like, just can't bother to it. I don't want to go and play 40k because I'm just going to hate it a little bit.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And I run the channel.
I know. So
do you want to play tonight?
I'm going to play tonight.
No. Because originally I put myself down on the road to play against Brom and you to produce, because that's what you said you wanted me to do. And I asked you, I was like, yeah, I'll play.
Yeah.
Do you want to play? Because I don't want to be in a position where we throw you against Brom's Orcs tonight and you come off going, I hate it even more. I'm even closer to quitting. I don't want to do that. I'd rather do the opposite.
Yeah, but then the problem is if I don't play for ages, it's just like at some point I'm going to have to play.
Yeah, maybe at that point you'll be like, I actually really want to play now.
Yeah, but I might be like, I want to play it even less because it's like it's been such a long time. Right. So it's a lose-lose situation for you, Liam, basically.
40k medic, thank you for the 5. What about Black Templars?
I've done a Black Templars army in the past, but they're too similar to Blood Angels, I think, like in how I would play them. Just big use of intercessors, lots of blade guard. This is a really nice model army. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But also, like I feel like I've painted enough black.
No.
You never say that.
Like
Wee Man, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Yeah, Fat Boy is correct. I've stopped drinking Monster and can't win 40k. Is there a link? Could be.
Yeah, but I also care about your health.
Yeah, but
I'd rather you were alive.
I would rather I was dead, but at least I won a game. I want to my final roll of the game to win, and then I die.
I feel like, considering our new affiliation with a new charity, we probably should be saying things like that. Anyway, Wee Man, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Joe, what is your hope for Wee Man?
Wee Man, I hope that you get 30 Stone Guard and you enjoy it. You realise that you were wrong all along.
William Wills. Joe's just given 244 personal right, come down.
Yeah. Oh, I love Warhammer, but at the moment I'm struggling to play the game. I think the problem is all the losses are just compounding.
Yeah, I think so.
And but this is why I want to try it. I'm tempted to just stop playing Chaos Space Marines, stop playing Blood Angels, and just kind of look somewhere else.
So where do you think about looking? Because I'll help.
Don't know.
I am fully committed to getting a happy Joe back and getting you enjoying 40k again. I'm fully committed to it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to do the Ultramarines to see where that goes. I like the idea of Drukhari. I like the idea of like.
I think honestly, you need to do what you want to do, and don't listen to me necessarily for this, but I think you need to, for a while, step away from fucking power armor.
I don't know. I just really like I really like the models.
I know you do.
But the thing is, though, I'm not going to play an army where I don't like the models.
Of course.
Because I looked at World Eaters, I was like, I really hate 8-bound.
So then convert them.
They look stupid.
So then use something else.
Yeah, I could run Terminators.
So use Terminators as 8-bound and be like, my list has no Terminators, they just have 8-bound.
That is actually an army that would do well with 30 Terminators.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Someone said Custodes. I really enjoyed Custodes, but I think I played Custodes for like 2.5 editions.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't know that.
I played them through a lot of 9th. I played them pretty much all of 8th. I had them a little bit at the end of 7th. Well, because I was like, it's just a lot. I kind of I played myself out on them.
Okay.
Grey Knights I like the idea of, but I don't like the models.
Yeah, and I feel like they're probably going to have an upscale at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of the range, though.
Well, they've only got like 3 units.
Well, yeah. So Galahad, thank you for the 10. I was today's years old when I found out Joe plays 40k as movie Marines and not as tabletop gamer probabilities and strategic decisions. How has Joe got so far and only now hitting the losing streak?
Maybe that's it. Maybe I've just got lucky for X amount of years.
You finally run out of luck.
Yeah, I finally ran out because I was just I was just taking stuff and just YOLOing it at people.
What about Necrons? Lots of mobility, lots of melee, none of these crazy weapon options nonsense that you seem to get so upset about.
I have looked at it. I think if I was going to do them, I'd lean heavily into things like flayed ones and the score pecker stuff. I like combat. I find all shooting armies quite boring. That's why I really like Drukhari is a really, really good army for like staging.
Should we buy him some Drukhari when we go off stream chat?
Yeah. I have been. Someone said, "How about demons?" I have been enjoying demons a lot. I lost with the demons, but I was enjoying the game even though I was losing. All right, Machine, you get in the bin.
I saw that comment too. I was like, whoops.
I think I really like Berserks in Votan. I like the big guys with the big suits. The Thunderkin. That's why we've got 18 of them.
We have got 18
because I really, really like them. I think they're really cool. I feel like their Terminators are a bit lacking. Their Terminator guys, Hearthguard, suffer from 9th edition Chaos Space Marines when they were using the 8th edition Codex. Like their Terminators were still 2 wounds.
Yeah.
And they just kind of went a bit. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of in this weird funk where I'm like, I need to find something that will get me out of it. It might even be like Chaos Knights or something.
I legitimately think, my personal opinion, knowing you as well as I know you now, is Drukhari is the answer.
Yeah.
Because Drukhari is a thinking man's army that isn't just run, everything's died.
Yeah.
You know, you can play technically, you don't just worry about 4-ups and 6-ups and stuff. I think Drukhari is the answer for you, but I'm never going to force you something you don't want to do.
I'd love to do Drukhari, but... Yeah.
You've also talked to me, since we had that channel Drukhari army, you've talked to me since that point. And that Drukhari army, we're keeping hold of it because it'll be rentable when you come and play in Hobby House. But you've talked to me since we had that about doing your own Drukhari army again.
I think I would do.
And at the moment, the amount of like sad-faced temper tantrums we're getting, I'm inclined to let you do it.
Yeah. I'm just getting to the point where I'm just like,
Not that we should reward that behaviour, but I don't want you to leave me.
Is it rewarding that behaviour? When it's like, it got to a point where it's like, no matter what I do, I just lose, kind of thing. And I've ran a lot of different types of armies.
Have you tried being better?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any evidence.
I think the problem is the need to want to be better decreases with the amount of losses.
Yeah, fair.
You know? Because it's like I want to put in all the effort, but I've lost. So why bother putting in the effort, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like yeah, I don't know. I might just do 18 Blade Guards and just YOLO every game.
Can we just flat crush Brom tonight? Can we do that?
I don't want to do that to Brom, though.
I mean, he'll be smiling even. Like, Brom's the kind of guy that will lose 100-0 and smile at you.
Yeah, but he'd be dead on the inside.
He wouldn't, though.
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
He's beaten me every time he's played. He's always beats me. They fixed them now, but secret missions.
Yeah, I think they're less.
Secret missions are but now I'm the one that keeps getting the secret missions when they've changed them. So now they're like, it's literally like last week. I could take a secret mission, but it literally helps me in no way. It negatively impacts me now.
Yeah.
Last week was sad when he picked it and Abaddon instantly died.
Yeah.
It was a bit sad. Anyway, thank you people for hanging out with us today. Hope you've enjoyed the Liam and Joe show. I am determined. It is like my mission right now to get Joe back on the smiley face 40k train. Like I'm 100% behind trying to make him cheerful and happy in this hobby, because my most enjoyable time with 40k is when my best mates are enjoying it along with me at the same time. And it's like, it's hard to be excited and happy about what's going. We're attending an RTT in December, we're attending Beachhead in February, and I'm really excited by it, and I'm really excited about the group of people who are going, and I instantly get concerned that you're going to have a shit time. And then I don't enjoy it as much. So from a selfish perspective, I want you to be enjoying it more, because then I'll enjoy it more as well.
Yeah. Man, there's never going to come a day where I run orcs, realistically. It's not going to happen.
No?
No.
Not into orcs, are you?
No. Orcs are one of those armies where I'm like, oh, I could paint that army, and that would be quite good fun. And then I get to the idea, and then I'm like, no, I don't like it.
I think the idea of blending up and shading the skin is very, very attractive until you have to do 100 of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us, you beautiful human beings. I appreciate you spending the time on your Thursday lunch hour / afternoon when you should be working to hang out for the Liam and Joe show. You're amazing. We do have a live game of 40k tonight. It is Orcs with Brom. I was going to run Dark Angels. Joe was considering throwing guard at him.
I'm going to run guard at him.
You are going to run guard at him?
I'm going to run guard and see what happens.
If you win, will you smile?
No.
Okay. Right, well, you've heard it here first. Yeah. So there we go. That's the game of 40k tonight. Tomorrow at 8:30, we've got 40k After Dark. Sunday evening, there's a bonus stream for Remembrance Sunday. And then Monday, we'll continue painting my Eldar. So look out for all of those streams. Hopefully, this evening, you'll join us for the Orcs versus Astra Militarum game. Hopefully, you'll join us. If not, I need my phone before I do this anyway.
So, Gahad, there's no such thing as too much Space Marine 2.
I mean...
What's wrong with wanting Space Marines to be cool?
Because Space Marines are cool, it just doesn't work. If you make Space Marines like they are in the narrative on the table, it doesn't work. The game breaks. And then a custodian player gets one custodian.
Yeah.
Is what he gets.
Warhammer just becomes a horde mode then.
Yeah.
I don't see that being a problem.
Anywho, like I said, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for all the donations and super chats. Thank you for the gifters. We ended up on 57. You know what? I'm going to try and help him out and buy him some Drukhari anyway, I reckon, if that's what he wants. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you tonight. If not, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.